Hello, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to show you two sort of glute strengthening exercises, very regressed strengthening exercises. The reason I'm showing you these exercises, I had a few people email me regarding some of the exercises where I discussed you must try to do things in a standing position and also try and activate the posterior sling. And the questions were like, how do you do that if you've got like severe weakness and dysfunction? It's very hard to go straight to standing, and I 100% agree. It is very hard to go straight to standing stuff. So here's sort of two versions that I may use from time to time, and there's other things that I would also use. It's not just one thing. So always remember, you've got to put it in context with other things. It's not just one exercise that's going to magically cure you. So this first one, I'm basically using a Swiss ball. It's better against the wall. I'm sort of using a pole so I could show you more easily, but it's better against the wall. It's sort of got better leverage and doesn't slip around as much. But you've got to try and place the ball right on the hip here, all right? And so basically I'm leaning into it, and the leg or the glute that I'm working is the one that's on the ground, all right? So it's not the one that's in the air. So all I have to do is basically I'm just going to try and tilt my pelvis so it will sort of tip down on an angle like that, all right? So I've sort of dropped this left side down, and then to try and raise it back up, and you can see how I've put my hand at the back there. I put my hand on the glute medius, so I can feel the glute medius, and what I want to do is I want to get a contraction here on the glute at the back there to then raise the pelvis from being on that angle to back to level. So it's a very subtle movement. You've got to try and not bend your knee too much where you might get quads involved. So you don't want the quads to get involved. You want to try and keep your leg fairly straight. So it's quite a strange movement in some regard. So it can really help you. It even works better in bare feet as well with that foot on the ground, because you can sort of start to get a bit of the foot stability involved. But it's a great exercise if you've got a bit of pain and you just want to try and get something back in the standing position, but it's not too complex. The stability is not a problem, and you can actually get a bit of awareness into the action. All right, it's not going to be enough to change things on its own, but it's a stepping stone to the ones that will, which are obviously going to be progression from this. Would be possibly a single leg deadlift or various other versions of single leg stance, even just the traditional deadlift sometimes. It just might give you a little bit of a kick, a bit of extra strength into an area that's been obviously disabled and inhibited for some time. So now the second exercise I'm going to show you is a exercise for the posterior sling, and most of the time we have to do this standing up, or nearly all the time, but this is one way where we could actually reduce the compression into the joints, and it's using a Swiss ball to sit on. It is a little bit awkward, I will give you that. Now, one thing that's important, you can sort of see here where I set up before I even started moving, is that I have to make sure that I don't just stay sitting up straight. All right, it's very important for me to get into a bent over position. Now, this is where even for myself it's a bit of a challenge, because I do struggle to try and get enough anterior tilt in my pelvis. So I have to be quite conscious. A bit hard to see with my jacket on, I suppose, but I have to try and be aware that I need to keep the natural curve in my spine. That the reason that's important is it really loads up the glute. So it's obviously not the one in the air, it's the left leg that's on the ground. And because I'm working with my right arm and left leg sort of combine together to create that sling. All right, so this is the posterior sling that I'm really working. And again, we usually do this exercise standing up, but this is one way. And you can sort of see there how I tried to get a little bit more lean into it, so that really loads the glutes up. And trust me, you will feel this. Again, the stability is greatly improved. This is one area where people really struggle with these type of exercises, that their stability and their balance is just so bad it compromises any strength that they might have been trying to provide. So there's two exercises you can try that if you're struggling to get to the more advanced ones, and the ones that are on the floor like the hip extensions, the clams, they're they may strengthen your glutes, but it may absolutely do nothing for you when you stand up, because your brain does not see that being relevant to when it's being used in combination with other joints, especially the foot. All right, so these are two examples of where you're getting the foot involved, but the complexity is greatly reduced. So it gives you a chance to sort of get it right. That may help you get to the one that will really make a difference. All right, so it's sort of like an in-between exercise, like you're filling the gap as such. All right, so I hope you find this video useful, and yeah, check the description underneath, because there's lots of links I'll put in there with additional information on the progressions and even the regressions as such. All right, so I'll see you in our next video.